Hello, guys.
Tell us when you're unmuted.
You saw nothing? We are going live for the first time today. Oh, dear. Right, everything should be working. Shut up.
Useless.
Welcome to the Pretending to Paint
What's not
podcast.
working? What did he fuck
He
up?
fucked up
No,
anything. It's
what's he
working.
fucked up?
Stop sabotaging. This is our thing. Stop it.
No, sabotaging would be telling everyone that Aaron has a really weird rash on his scrot from the last Saturday night.
Is that really how we're starting? We have our first very special guest,
Yeah, why
Barry
not?
Watkins, aka Anphiarus, and we started by talking about AC's bollocks. Half the
Yep.
course.
Hey, I didn't swear, right? Just saying.
Oh dear. Well, how you doing, Barry? Welcome.
I'm good, mate. I'm good. You?
Not bad. Not bad. So far, so good. Hopefully, the audio works.
Right, we have to start something. Listen, we've never called Barry, right? His name is Baz,
Please.
Baz.
Yeah.
right? Or
I'll
Anphiarus.
be glad.
Let's get this fucking right.
I mean, you've already called him a bitch before we started going live, so I think Barry's an upgrade from there. Right, and hello, everyone. As you know, we've got our very first special guest. You may know him as Anphiarus on Instagram. He's a sculpting guru. You might see him doing a little bit of Horus Heresy conversions and reposes and the likes. Obviously, AC's his biggest fanboy. There's no denying that. But we've got a series of questions we want to go through with Baz. We've got a few that were recommended or asked as part of AC's little channel and Discord. But as we go through today, feel free to ask in the chat as well. We'll take note and add to the list. But I thought we'd start with a fun, simple question for Baz.
Let's interrogate this bitch.
So, when you're sculpting, be it milliput, green stuff, whatever you use, and you have that leftover bit, what do you make of that? Do you make a cock like the rest of us?
It's good. You know what? I'm gonna be very, very disappointed here. Goes in the bin.
Oh.
I'm not precious. I'm not precious about it. I know. If it makes you feel better, I'll change my habits, and I will do. I'll make a very highly detailed scrotum, obviously one with a brush, but we'll go with that. And yeah.
Good.
But
Good.
no, honestly, I'm not precious about green stuff. It's very, very inexpensive, especially compared to mini. So once it's got to a stage I can't work with it, it's in the bin.
True. If you do legitimately make a cock, I want you to send that to me, and that's going on my mantelpiece. I don't think my first piece from Baz would be a cock, but
Do you know how much Baz charges? That thing would be worth
I
a
paid a
fortune.
lot for cock in my day.
Saying nothing. We should start this properly. Baz, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Baz Watkins. As you said before, you might know me as Anphiarus. I have pretty much been in the hobby now for, I would say, about 22, 23 years. It's pretty much started off like most people. Just went into a random workshop and kind of saw all these crazy things, liked it. I was a bit older than most, I think I started around about 18 years old. I went in, studying art at the time, and saw all this crazy artwork that drew me in. And started painting a little bit. Ended up working for GW for about 8 years, I want to say it was. And never really kind of thought about sculpting. Sculpting was something that actually only happened when I couldn't paint regularly. So I had no setup at home, young kids, and I couldn't get the paints out. It was impossible to get a setup, and I didn't want to do one of these trays that you pick up and put away all the time. It was just a faff. But I don't know what kind of like got me in the idea. I saw some green stuff. My mate was a dental technician, and he had some tools, and I just thought, well, if I can't do something like paint, I'll maybe try this sculpting luck. And did that, posted up a few pictures, I don't know, maybe about 5 years ago, and yeah, absolutely crazy. After that, it was I just wasn't ready for the kind of interest from the hobby community and really all the stuff that kind of went with it. It's been a bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah, And I think it's quite safe to say you got pretty damn good at it as well. I know you've done a few courses so far, and I know you've got one that's already sold out for next year. How long did it take you, or what did it take to convince you to start doing courses? Like, did you just start enjoying teaching friends? Like, how did you get into the tuition side?
I mean, honestly, I've always, I guess it goes back to my GW days, right? Because you do painting lessons and stuff like that. So I found it quite natural. And to be fair, if it wasn't, I guess, for Henry and Andy on Court Paint, who kind of introduced me to the idea of really doing classes, then I never really would have thought about it doing like en masse. But to be fair to them, they were like, you should give it a go. And really, it was just a case of just jumping in the deep end. That's it. What's you laughing?
Sorry, I just seeing, right. So in my head, I was about to ask, when's the Patreon coming? But Faces on in the chat has literally just turned around and said, I hope Baz calls his studio the Amphitheatre. It just made me chuckle quite a lot.
It's going to be a few of these.
Yeah, I'll note that down. I'll note it down.
Yeah, that was really good. Sorry, carry on. Yeah.
No, but that was it for me, mate. Honestly, it's just a question of like, those guys just basically just gave me the shove that I needed, if I'm being honest with you, because they, I had no idea way of going about it, and they kind of like just went, look, we'll take care of that part. Just come down and see how you get on. So, yeah, and I'll be honest with you, in fact, every class I've had, but the first class in particular, everybody that goes to a class like this is on the same page instantaneously. So it's not like you have to fight the distractions and all that stuff. Everybody is there for the same reason, and it's such a really, really good environment to kind of learn hobby stuff. So, and obviously, without blowing too much smoke up somebody's rear end, I was at his non-metallic course recently, and it's exactly the same. It's just such a good atmosphere, and you don't even feel sometimes like you're doing learning. You know what I mean? It's very natural and very kind of organic in that way, and you just end up getting lost, I guess, in the hobby. It's amazing. I love it.
So, do you mean Liam's number course at AC's?
Yeah, Liam was up my neck of the woods, so I was like, I'll go and visit him,
AC doesn't have a non-met course yet.
No.
Yeah. The reason I ask is because
stuff.
I've heard stories about Liam's courses, about how he throws the model around the studio.
Yep.
Is that anything you could ever do yourself? Or are you a little bit more precious about your work?
I mean, I don't intentionally maybe throw them, but unintentionally they'll get dropped. Yeah, for sure. That happens.
Ouch.
In my defense, I only threw one model, but I did get my leg out. Right? There's a really funny picture of me with my leg on the desk with Baz's head just like this.
With his leg, I mean, his crotch was this far away from me. So yeah.
Yeah, could literally smell it.
Oh no, actually could. Horrific.
That's two of our crotches we've talked about so far. Let's see who gets number 3. Cool. So I think maybe we rewind a little bit to the beginning. When it comes to starting a new project, I assume you get a little bit of a brief from whoever's paying for it. What's your sort of like beginning process? Do you sketch things out? Do you go back and forth to consider some ideas? Like, is there a general process to that?
Well, ultimately, the people that I kind of like, I wouldn't say all of them, but the vast majority of people that I have kind of like dealt with and worked with, there's always a artwork. There's always something that has inspired kind of like whatever they want to do. So that kind of gives me that kind of initial common ground to go off of. Now, I don't really sketch out my ideas. What I do is it's much more, I don't know, I think it's much more of a natural process, because sometimes, again, a 2D image won't necessarily translate into like a 3D miniature all the time. You'll find issues and problems with poses and stuff like that as you work. So I don't like to kind of like pigeonhole myself into this is going to be the pose, or this is what, I can give like a rough idea for sure. But again, using the artwork and basically any sort of character, depending on what type of character it was. We were talking about Lucius earlier before we went live, and it's that character you instantaneously think of certain situations they're in. Those situations will kind of guide as to the poses that so it gives you a really rough idea initially. So, for example, if someone was to come up to you and say that they wanted maybe a Night Lord, they evoke certain images in your own mind of your favorite artworks that involve Night Lord. So I've instantly got that part to play off of. But again, people come to me sometimes with specific artworks, and it doesn't need to be, the same legion or the same chapter or the same race even. It just has to be something that's, that they like the kind of like the visual look of, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, makes sense.
If I can add on to that then. So have you had any examples where you've been, any standouts where 2D images, like iconic 2D images, have just not translated?
I'm just trying to think. So my first foray into doing like a commission where it was artwork specifically, there was one with Huron Blackheart. Now, I wouldn't say it didn't translate directly, but I had to work so much harder on the back of the model on basic stuff, like ever so slightly enlarging in the back. So it gave me the room then to pull the shoulders forward ever so slightly. And it's just simple things like that with armor and tweaks. The more extreme poses, they in general don't work, especially, and again, forgive me, I'm going to use a lot of Marine references because that's the ones that I mainly work on. But my personal taste, if you take, for example, the Sigismund Forgeworld model, that's a very extreme pose in every sense. His legs are doing, what I would call something a little bit like off kilter, that the balance is a little bit wrong.
Surfboard.
So it doesn't kind of look right. And sometimes, again, the artwork can force that. But to get back to your question, the one in particular, I would say the Huron initially, but I eventually made it work, but it just, sometimes it's a lot harder work. But anything with a Space Marine, if his arms are up above his head, I don't know if you've ever tried to put it's nigh on impossible with the shoulder plates and stuff like that. It's just nigh on impossible with the shoulder plates.
Which actually leads back to what we were talking about before the stream, unless you're Lucius.
Yeah.
With the stupid like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. We had a couple of questions from chat. Starting to talk about, the materials and stuff that you use.
Yeah.
I guess typically you sort of mix milliput, green stuff. Is there anything else that you use typically? Is there like or what do you use those for specifically? There's like a good option for each type of.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. So it's personal preference. Some people prefer to do just pure green stuff. I like the qualities of the green stuff milliput mix. I think that works really well. The reason for that is its curing time is a little bit longer. The milliput does that to the green stuff. So it elongates your window for working. But when you get to a certain stage with the milliput green stuff mix, it smooths a lot better, in my personal opinion. You can stretch it even more a little bit and really refine it. And even better than that is that after it's cured, you can then use like sandpaper, fine grit sandpaper or something like that. Or I use actually just a knife blade, and I'll scrape the flat of the blade down the mix, and it will smooth it out entirely. So there's that. But so with that in mind, I mainly use that for the likes of your larger armor pieces, all of your cloth, any organic shapes. Green stuff in its purest form, I now tend to kind of use it a lot less, if I'm being honest. But it doesn't mean I don't use it. I just really like the qualities that I get from the mixture. But green stuff I now use for probably like your finer detailing, because it has that kind of like a rubbery memory almost. You can move it, but it will start to fight back ever so slightly. So you can tweak finer, as you go along. But again, it reaches that point. You can mix a little bit more of the yellow in to slightly slow down the kind of curing time. But it's one of these ones where I get asked a lot about mixes. and forgive me, I'll move on to mixes just quickly, is I just try and keep my mixes 50-50. And the reason for that is I know its qualities at certain times, so I know when I can start to mess with it. And when you start to alter the mixes, it then kind of moves these times ever so slightly around. So, and I'll be honest with you, I'm just lazy. So I just mix it 50-50 and just deal with any ramifications after the fact, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I
It's just like the rest of us.
So something that got mentioned in chat, and it's something I've actually looked at a couple of times, but never actually pulled the trigger on, is the Tamiya epoxy based sculpting material. Have you had any experience with that?
I have it. I haven't used it yet. I have heard great things. I'm sure you're all aware there's a lovely gentleman, Jason. He goes by the name of Valbjorn on Instagram.
Yep.
And he is a big advocate of the Tamiya. Quick dry. Is it quick dry? Oh, Tamiya. Yeah, anyway, the Tamiya Quickset, that's it. So he's a massive advocate of that. He says essentially it has the same properties as the Milliput and greenstuff mix. And he feels like it sets a little bit like harder as well, you know. So
Nice.
I absolutely have it. The only slight downside to it is at the moment, I think it's cost, you know, you could maybe get about 3 times the amount of greenstuff Milliput mix for what you are for the Tamiya Quickset. But that's, again, you know, it's an expensive hobby anyway. So let's be honest, it's if you're willing for that, and I hear really good things about it, and I will mess with it for sure.
I paid €12 for Milliput once while I was in Italy. 'Cause I didn't bring any with me. And I'm still not recovered emotionally, financially.
I think it's like 3 tubes of Milliput, isn't it? So.
Exactly. Yeah. So we've got a question. Not sure how serious this one is. What's your preferred source of lubrication for your tools?
Tools or plural?
There was definitely
It's 2
plural.
questions.
Okay. Well, this is like I tend not to use any creams personally, or Vaselines, or anything like that. Quite simply, keep it clean. All right, just for now. But anyway, the only reason why I say that is when you contact the greenstuff with your sculpting tool, you can actually learn quite a lot about how far it's starting to set. And when you put a barrier in between those two, something like I say, Vaseline, you have to wipe that off, and ultimately it will never come off that surface until you clean it off, and you can't do that until it's set. So I like to kind of use, it's quite literally a case of water or saliva, just because, again, convenience, and it dries up quicker. So, and what I mean by like with the touch is like I can work out through my kind of sculpting tool, especially the metal tools that I use, that I can work out just by touch really what stage of curing it's at.
I think the chat really liked the fact that you spit. Just like the rest of us. You heard it here first, boys.
This is
cream,
known
just spit.
I mean, Liam will tell you, and Aaron, you're going to find out throughout the entire class, it's nothing but innuendos, because it's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, I was impressed. We managed to get through that entire section, and we were almost well behaved.
I was so
Shows our
good.
respect
Have you
for
not
you.
noticed how well behaved I'm actually being?
I mean, I can just chuckle away in the corner, mate. So.
Never seen Liam so
The
quiet. I quite
longer
like
that
it.
was going on, it was just like, this is what someone's going to break. Someone's going to break.
You said touch wood, and I was like, oh God, I'm going to break.
No, I know. Like, I wish I could find a different way of explaining it as well. It just doesn't work. So yeah.
No, sorry, just wipe it off. It'll be fine.
Yeah. So I wait till we get to licking the tip.
That's what the curtains are for.
The tip of the tool, yeah?
Yeah, tip of the tool, of course.
Yeah. Do you share tools?
That would be a horrible class, wouldn't it?
And now everybody's swap tool.
There's our clickbait for the YouTube.
I mean, I guess actually on the topic of tools, because I know that was something that came up from a couple of people in chat now and also before when we were getting ready for this. There are a lot of questions around sort of which tools you use and a strong preference for particular tools for particular things. So obviously people are pretty familiar with the sort of silicon shapers.
The color shapers,
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at my part of tools on the desk, and it's just silicon shapers and a small selection of metal tools, but not that many.
Yeah.
So I mean, it would be interesting to know what you use, when, and why.
Right, I have, as you can imagine, I've got a plethora of tools. Like quite literally, I've got, again, my mate was a dental technician, so I literally got access to like all the descaling tools that he had and all of that. I can honestly say to you, out of my entire kind of like set, I probably use the same 3 tools for 99%. Yes, that's one of them. So that's the bladed one. I can't. I think it's called like an ash carver or something like that. The problem being in the dental trade, or you have to be in the dental trade to get these in bulk, which is terrible. But if you go on eBay, I think they do. You'll see them.
I'll throw the link up now.
Yeah, they're descaling tools. And obviously, you can't see it. Well, maybe it's not too bad, but this is a small bladed tool here. And this thing here, I honestly say I use that for a good 80% of what I do, everything. Any softer shapes, then this is my taper point color shaper, size 0, firm. I usually, people will come into the class and they've maybe got like a size 2. And unlike a paintbrush, unfortunately, it's not, it's not consistent about the point at the end. So if you can get yourself a size 0 and a firm, it just gives you enough kind of like resistance. Again, much like with a metal tool, but just to a lesser extent, you can actually feel that kind of different stages of curing as you're working. So, it's a physical indication as opposed to, just a visual thing where you're trying to work out what is, working, Yeah. Sorry, my phone went. I apologize.
It's all good. It's funny you say all this because we've got Diddy in the chat who is a dentist. So he's going to be getting all sorts of messages after for free shit.
Yeah, perfect. In that case, message them.
Coming soon to Diddy Miniature Company. Dental.
New brand of sculpting tools. There's no idea.
But yeah, like ultimately though, again, I can't stress this enough. What works for you, like use that. Again, Jason Valbjorn, he started off with a toothpick and it worked for him. So
I've heard a lot of people
exactly. I spent a lot of time watching, just because again I had no kind of reference points, so I went and kind of like on YouTube, and I just watched people sculpting with clay traditionally. There are kind of clues out there and stuff like that, and some of the kind of things cross over, and you can really genuinely work it out. It's there's plenty of useful stuff, but as far as tools, they're the ones I use, but I cannot stress enough, just because they work for me, it doesn't mean, that's the one for you. You'll find things that you find much more comfortable.
Yeah, that's the one, Diddy. Diddy's got the link up. Legend. Yeah.
eBay servers are about to get busy.
I'll add that to the list.
Honestly, so this is
Yeah.
when I went on Baz's course, right? I took color shapers, and I was like, I can't stand like hard tools. Like they really annoyed the hell out of me. And then I think it was like an hour in, and everyone was just sold as hell. Not only have I got 4 of these now, some of them have been filed into different shapes and like bent into different curves and all sorts of stuff. So I've got 4 of the same tool, and they're all changed. Right, for different stuff. I'm crap with all of them, but I'm hard tools. I probably use like 80% of the time now, rather than the.
It's that tactile thing. Sorry, mate. Yeah, it's that kind of tactile thing. You can actually feel the different stages of it curing, and you almost get like those clues as like up to a point where you can make a fresh cut without it kind of, especially with the green stuff mini pot mix, is when you're cutting green stuff, you'll make a depression and it will always fold down the edge like that. But if you let it cure enough, you can actually cut it a lot more with probably even a sharper blade, and it'll give you a really crisp edge.
I feel like we're all just taking notes at the moment.
Yeah, I mean,
We're watching this back and studying.
I've bookmarked the eBay page. I'm going to buy one of those later. I've seen a few people literally making tools as well. Is that something you've experimented with?
No.
Nope.
No. Again, so I'm going to be honest with you. It's like it comes back to one, inability to make the tools, and two, really, really bloody lazy. So I've kind of found where I'm comfortable, and these 3 tools that I mainly use. I do have more, like I say, and maybe 1% of the time I'll use something different. But these 3 tools tend to cover me for all my needs, I guess.
I think AC just wanted to show off his hobby shiv, as he calls it.
Oh, the hobby shank.
So true.
Hobby
I
shank.
actually know where that is at the moment. It's
that's
maybe
worrying.
somewhere on my desk. It's fine.
I've got a silly question. Would you ever consider making your own branded tools? No.
He didn't even want to entertain that. He was like,
Exactly.
Chris, shut the fuck up.
It would literally be a case of
it.
buying them off eBay, sticking my name on it, and selling them again. No, there's the ones I use. I'm hoping I can find we found the one for the bladed tool. There is another tool I would love to kind of find, so I can just recommend it.
Mate, you're acting like this is bad. This is literally Greenstuff's world's business model.
I was literally sat there. I was like, "Don't." I was like, "Maybe we shouldn't say the name. Maybe we shouldn't." And then
There goes your
boom.
sponsorship.
Fuck him. Gives a shit.
Yeah, well, let's just say then I don't want to be considered like Green Stuff World. How's that? But honestly, they're so readily available. And I just want more people to join me in the madness of sculpting. I'll be honest with you, because as much as we all have problems, everybody does, right? You get new shiny model syndrome. You've got brand new idea syndrome. It just gets so much worse when you have the ability to maybe make some of your own stuff. And I'm sure people that do 3D kind of all your CAD stuff, they have an absolute understanding where you're just like, oh God, I've got the keys to everything. If I just work at it, and yeah, it's a dangerous rabbit hole to go down. So I figure you can all join me in the madness, and that way I'm not lonely.
I have to say, I am really enjoying it, truthfully. And I'm constantly, especially with GW stuff, I'm looking at models and them going, how do I change it? And am I capable of it? That's the other thing. But it's quite the rabbit hole.
I'm going to be honest. I think, sorry, mate, it's just so many people, and especially, when maybe they come into the class, it's more a question of reassuring them that they actually really do have the same skill set that I do, in a sense. And I don't mean that flippantly. Is a lot of the control work that you get from painting that absolutely transferable into sculpting. It's just that you have to consider, the kind of sculpting tool that you're using at the time. It's not like a paintbrush where it's literally the same shape no matter what. You really have to kind of consider that. But so many people surprise themselves when you actually get sat down and we just get into sculpting.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you get to really work on your own stuff much? Do you have sort of personal passion projects, or is it typically a lot of commissions and things?
Yes, I do. I do get time to work on them. I'm so much I'm such an addict. I'm not gonna say anything kind of miniature based. If someone puts a project in front of me, and again, commissions are slightly different, the collaborations as well, I just can't help myself. You know what I mean? So my own projects kind of get pushed to the side. I do have some future projects planned for myself. I bought ludicrous amounts of models for future projects. I've just got to learn to resist maybe, doing everyone else's as well. So yeah.
Don't you have a whole Horus Heresy army that's not even out of the box?
Yeah.
Exposed.
The shame in that response.
No, but
Like,
I mean, that's it. The problem is, like, I could sit and I could build troops and all that stuff. I have wanted a Space Wolf army for the longest time. I just can't convince myself not to change all of the Space Wolf. And again, you know, anybody that's been a Space Wolf sufferer like I have for a long time is like, until recently, Forge World have, for me, just not got it right.
Same as White Stars, mate. I agree.
Yeah, exactly. But they've started to change with the new stuff, which is great. But my point is like, I can't not change things to the way I like them. And that's my problem with army building as much as anything, you know?
The problem is as well, you'd never live it down. Because I know for a fact, right, if you put a standard Space Marine out the box on Instagram, I would never let you live it down, right? Because you'd just be like one of the peasants like us. Do you know what I mean?
Listen, I will never not be a peasant, all right? But
Can't have you being a basic bitch.
yeah. No, but that's it. But sometimes, you know what? It's so genuinely refreshing to not touch us. Because again, like, I know we get a lot of like people that have got like issues with GW and stuff like that. But of recent, I cannot stress enough. I think they are nailing their sculpts of late. Yes, there's the odd bad one. I'm not going to lie. But if you look, sorry,
I think.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you look at AOS in particular, I mean, what the hell is going on? They are absolutely nailing it.
Yeah.
That Stormcast Dragon, I don't care. I love it. The thing is, though, is the problem that occurs with this, right, is Games Workshop do great sculpts. No one can say otherwise. But every so often they miss. That's just the way it is. The problem is, because they release so many models, they miss more than anyone else. It's just a numbers game. And you know what people are like? They focus on the negative, right? You don't forget the crap sculpts, but you can forget about the good ones. And that's just the issue with it. Like 99% of Games Workshop sculpts are good, great, or amazing.
But that's the thing is, like, I don't look at individual sculpts. I look at the kind of sculpt progression as a whole. And there's not many of the systems. If you look at Necromunda, you look at Blood Bowl, you look at Horus Heresy, you look at, I mean, 40k is probably the shakiest one, and forgive me, it's just like my personal opinion. But AOS, I can only see the quality of those sculpts in an upwards trajectory. They're just so good.
Yeah.
I have a brand new Cities of Sigmar army that I'm just started working on, and I just love every model.
Do you think that part of the issue with that, though, is the fact that 40k is the factions are so ingrained, most of the time, all they can do and all they want people to do is reinvent what is already there. And that's right. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, for example, when the new Assault Marines came out, I know Aaron's not a fan, but the new Assault Marines were just Assault Marines.
Yeah.
They're not exciting. Do you know what I mean? Do you see where I'm coming from? So it's a bit like with AOS, they can just reinvent it and just be like, this is new. Whereas in 40k, they're kind of stuck. If we get new Sanguinary Guard for 40k, they're just going to be bigger Sanguinary Guard.
But again, so the irony is I'm not being like funny in any way, but so if you look at AOS, what they've started to do now, don't get me wrong, when the brand new AOS came out, they really did just have an absolute open, but they could just choose anything they liked, and that was them. They could go for it. But why is it looking so good now? It's because what they've done is they've mined the visuals. So if you look at, forgive me, Seraphon, Lizardman, right?
Yep.
Seraphon.
Lizards, yeah.
They look amazing because what they've done is they've taken, and we talked about it earlier possibly, is like that visual silhouette of what I consider Lizardman to be, and they just enlarged it. And they've just made it cleaner. But they've done it in a really, really sympathetic way. And why I'm so happy and confident with, you know, impending Empress Children release, the kind of like any sort of Eldar that's going to be released, they have absolutely listened in the sense of this is the artwork we love. And they just go, right, let's make something based off of that artwork and then go from there. There are exceptions. I am absolutely not a fan of your T-shirt cannon Space Marines. They're just not for me. They're just not for me. But if irony being is, if they just released a Primaris heavy weapon squad, people would absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
or just dare I say it, just bring back Devastators.
Yeah,
Bring-
I like that.
Again, right?
Devastators.
So that's the thing, and this is the thing, is I know they've got a new audience, and us old fuddy-duddies are going to obviously not necessarily be their target, but that's what we fell in love with as kids. So that's what we identify as Space Marines heavy weapons, not a big box that someone carries about launching T-shirts, right? It's just, so that's all it is. And again, they've done it in AOS. The difference is we didn't mind it as much with AOS because they went, this is all new. Yeah. But they've absolutely done exactly the same thing with AOS. Chaos Warriors, they look amazing.
Yes, the Chosen.
They do.
Oh my God, I love
Right,
them.
but
I got so many.
they've just turned up the notch on the old ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way I say that, I don't mean to be dismissive. They've done amazing. All the proportions have been fixed. Everything's amazing. But quintessentially, it's still your Chaos Warrior that you fell in love with in the first place.
Yeah, true. As Aaron has secretly said, I think it's a good segue to start looking at some of the pieces you've done. If you could sort of talk us through them, I think that'd be fun.
I think we still got a million questions as well.
We do,
Yeah,
we've got a lot of questions about specifics and like materials and.
Yeah, that's cool. I apologise. I'll waffle, so stop me because
this is all good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What colour underwear have you got?
For you, mate, none.
Oh.
And there is the third scrope.
It's okay. It's not like we're recording this.
No, it's fine. It's not like it'll go on the internet forever. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Secret safe of us.
Yeah, quite a lot of people viewed the last one, to be honest with you. So
It's fine. But the comment that was made earlier about the collaborations was the thing that stood out, because immediately I was like, the first one that came to my mind was Dante. That was like the first one.
Yeah.
So
I love this.
Tell us all about it.
So Dante. So Dante was my passion project. That was always going to be for me. At the stage that was at, obviously we've got the new Dante, and to be very honest, there's so many bits of that new model that I really, really, really love. I can't stress that enough. I think it's great. I probably leaned a bit more into the artwork. And like I say, it was always going to be a passion project for me because like I've always had a thing about like the Angels of Death Codex from way back when, when it was Blood Angels and Dark Angels in this. It was just phenomenal. And that was the first thing that really captured me. But Dante was a passion one. I was waiting for the new, forgive me, Age of Sigmar. What are they called? Stormcast, that's the one. Yeah. So I was waiting on them because proportionately they were correct. It gave me enough to shave down their legs. It was the legs that were really going to cause me an issue.
Mm-hmm. So were these Stormcast legs then?
What I used Stormcast legs as the basis for all the proportions.
It's official. He cheated.
Yeah, I cheated. Yeah, it's not fully sculpted. Get him out. But no, it's
start again. Oh, wait, you can't do that.
Liam, you need to change the thumbnail to exposed.
That's it. But no, like because I'm in a kind of sense of like traditional sculpting, I'm not confident enough for body proportions and stuff like that just yet. I'm not going to lie to you. I still have times where I'm working on something I feel like I'm out of my depth. I cannot stress that enough. But just like with most hobby projects, it's just a question of just flinging yourself at it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, you know what? I just get to pick it off and try it again, But yeah, Dante was a particular passion project. I loved it. And I guess it's kind of cheeky in a way, right? Because I just reach out to artists, once in a while that I really love their work. They don't have to be super, super popular or everybody knows them. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. If I like their work, then, I'll reach out and just say, is there any chance? And I watched, much like with you guys, I watched Dave when he was streaming. And, yeah, he's just got like the heavy metal style that, again, I grew up as a kid loving heavy metal. I'll never not love heavy metal, but Dave has this ability to just turn it up a notch.
Yeah.
You know, and when I saw his work, I reached out to him, and you know, I was just lucky. He said yeah, and we had a little chat backwards and forwards about what was kind of going to happen, and then I just left it with him. You know, I think it was maybe about a year later that, you know, we had the time to start it. But, you know, I'm not in any rush, and, you know, I knew realistically Dante was going to get done, and you know, ultimately ended up getting done, but by obviously GW, sorry. But I was still happy to wait for Dave to pop some paint on him.
I feel like with Infernal, like, because obviously when you work for a company and you've got to paint something, you're under a deadline. So when he left GW, all of a sudden you've got this painter who is, let's be honest, absolutely fucking bonkers, right? It's ridiculously good. And then now it's almost like the training wheels are off. Not the training wheels, but the restraints are off. Like, there's no time restraint now. He can just go absolutely mental with what he's been doing for however long. And it's ridiculous to see.
Yeah, it's not only time restraint as well, obviously. You know, you see personal projects, like I think the Heavy Metal Artists just did a recent one, didn't they, with the course there?
Yeah, that was really cool to see, actually.
It was amazing. And again, it's another thing that they used to do, and I love that about heavy metal, is when they have time constraints, and you're right, but they also have somewhat color constraints, because it needs to be for the masses to a certain extent, you know? So when they turn it up a notch, and they are all incredibly talented painters, all of them, but when they are allowed to turn it up just a notch, by God, do they just deliver, you know? I've never looked at an heavy metal job where they go, oh, we've just done a challenge. You remember way back when they did the Wizards? I don't know if you remember that, or all the old Empire Wizards.
Yeah. When that multi-part wizard box came out, where you could make
Darren Latham, I think, Joe Tomaszewski, they just, Anyway, like I say, it's just, all I can say is nerdgasm. That's what it was. It was unbelievable, unbelievable.
It does always make me laugh when sometimes you hear, "Oh, it's just heavy metal style." It's like, do you have any idea how much work goes into that? It's insane. Like, it's not as easy as it looks.
So, and this was said earlier. I think it's really worth pointing out. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I feel quite strongly about this, because I felt this way for quite a long time. I always thought a lot of the box arts from Games Workshop weren't particularly great. And what happened was I saw them in person and realized that some of the box arts that don't look amazingly special in photos are let down by the photos. I've never seen a Games Workshop paint job in person that wasn't absolutely amazing. So when people say, and this isn't a dig for the person that said it in chat earlier, I think it's just one of those things. Like, when people say the paintwork isn't that great, 99% of the time it is the photo that's letting it down and not the paintwork. Like, GW painters, although they may not paint in the same style as, say, for example, me or Chris or Aaron, at the end of the day, the paint jobs are incredible.
So
I was
going to say, styles, like, I can absolutely appreciate the excellence in all different styles, and that's the thing. I'm not sticking my flag in heavy metal and saying that's the only way. What I'm saying is, like, they are the pinnacle of that style, and they are at the very top, and that, I don't think that's questionable. But I love all the styles that you guys do just as much, and I put value in that just as much. It's just maybe not exactly the same. So, but I don't think you can compare them. I never will. You know, they are just different styles. You know, it's the same in sculptors. You know, you can identify, less so now because of obviously your CAD design and stuff like that. But in the original sculpts, you can identify sculptors by that sculpting, and that's exactly the same. It's exactly the same.
Yeah, it's a style that gets a lot of stick, especially within the sort of, dare I say, display painting circles. A lot of people will almost like snub it, and it's like, have you tried to do it? Because it's really hard. It's really hard.
I tell you what, right? That would be a challenge for us. That would break us, right? Could you imagine a challenge between the three of us where we've got to paint a model in the GW style, right? Because I'm telling you right now, I would be the one that breaks first.
Did it literally the other day. I followed Infernal Brush's tutorial for painting metallics on Cities of Sigmar, and it took me fucking ages.
I guarantee it didn't look as good either.
I can't compare to the other pairs. But yeah, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of neatness. I was just whacking on the shade. I wasn't as methodical as Infernal Brush. But boy, does it look good when you take the time to do it. It takes as much time as non-metallic. But let's not get into the EMM versus
no.
I will say, I want to try it at some point. I genuinely want to try it. The last time I tried it was about 5 years ago, and I'd like to give it a go now. At some point in the near future, I would genuinely think it would be quite a learning process. But I'd need to be in I'd need quite a lot of patience, I think, at the time.
So, next year,
Yeah. I mean, I'll do it if you do it. If you two do it, I'll do it.
I'll do it. So I'm down. Fine by me.
Yeah.
What's that? I have to paint something really clean. Oh no.
Baz has got to get in on this as well. He's not being let out.
What am I doing? Sorry. No.
We agree on this.
What's paint? No. I'd love to.
A year from now, we're going to do this vodcast again. Baz is going to come back, and we're all going to have a heavier metal style painted model.
Okay. That's
Deal.
Deal. Are we doing the same one then? Is it the same miniature that we're all painting, or are we just gonna? It's going to be a stock one. Right?
Yeah. That's the question that we'll have to ask, won't it?
Yeah, to make this a proper challenge.
Oh, we could be extra cruel. And just make it just your bog standard intercessor. So Baz has to post something that he didn't sculpt.
Ruin his reputation. No conversions allowed.
I'm good with that.
This episode's starting to sound like a sabotage.
No, we're not doing that. I'm telling you right now.
Not even the one with the big Nerf gun.
Listen, let's just say we're going to do Terminators, and that'll do.
All right,
Deal.
Done.
Deal.
Fine.
So
Spit and
fair
shake.
enough. All right, happy days. Anyway,
So on the topic of really nice new sculpts coming out from Games Workshops, and then you taking it another level, I'm switching straight to this one. So it's a cool blend of old and new, and I fucking love this.
right, I have an opinion about this. Right.
Here we go.
This conversion sculpt, whatever the fuck you want to call it, pisses me off. Right, and I'll tell you why. Because it fucking ruined the new one for me. It annoys the shit out of me every time I see it. Because I'm like, I really like the new one, but this is more interesting by far. And I'm like, just give me this fucking one.
Get the green stuff out then.
So in the nicest way possible, Baz, fuck you.
Oh, thanks very much. Thank you.
It's tough.
So which sculpt is it? Sorry, I don't have it up on my screen because I'm obviously a tech talent.
It's Azrael.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Azrael. Yeah.
This is amazing.
That was, again, so it was just inspired by Mark Gibbons' artwork. Mark Gibbons is like a personal kind of like hobby hero for me. Everything he did for me encapsulates what Warhammer was in the 90s. It's just incredible stuff. And
Green Knight.
Yeah, don't even get me started. Let's not do this. But the Green Knight Bretonians, shit. Anyway, what I would Martin Waller actually and I had a kind of discussion over this one, and at the time it was just, I'll be honest with you, I think it was like Martin just basically taking a risk, and I'm going to be honest with you, because I hadn't done a massive amount of sculpting by that time. And he reached out to me about the possibility of doing Azrael. And that's the first time I can honestly say I felt a certain amount of pressure on a sculpt. Through nothing that Martin did, it was all my own self kind of imposed pressure because of the character, how iconic he was, and certain things, that I wanted to kind of get right, but then felt like because I was Primaris sizing him and stuff like that, I had to kind of change certain what I would say are like stereotypical or even iconic looks for him. So likes of his robes, I changed them ever so slightly, made them slightly more stylized, I guess, in the new way. Yeah, that was just such a massive learning curve, and it was one of the first times that I did the Watcher next to him, and that was the second time actually I'd done a proper armature, sculpt. Unfortunately, I didn't have any hands or a face, so that worked really well for me.
For anyone who doesn't know, Martin Waller is a fucking incredible painter, and I put his Instagram link in the chat.
Yeah, and a bloody gentleman, so that helps as well. I've been very
To be fair, I only met briefly. I met Martin briefly for about 5 minutes at a GD a few years ago. And I was like, I said hello to him, and he was really, really nice. But I didn't play it cool, but
it's just again, I can't stress this enough. For the 99% of the hobbyists that I've ever met, just top blokes that you can just chat to. And again, you wouldn't expect. That's the wrong word. You would think that somebody that's won a Slayer sword and like painted against the big wigs and invariably comes out on top, but he's just an everyday guy that just so happens to be just shit hot at painting. So
So we've had a few questions about the same thing, really, and I know this is like asking how long is a piece of string, but on average, how long would you typically spend on a conversion / sculpt?
That's a good one. So complex ones, I guess. So if we're talking the likes of Azrael or Dante was a slightly different one. He was much more, but I would say probably anywhere between 50 to 70 hours, I would say, realistically. And that's, that would be proper working time, because obviously I've got bits where I'm conceptualizing and stuff like that. I don't really include them because again that's me just messing about as much as you would if you're testing some sort of like your palette and stuff like that, and all your colors and stuff. So but yeah, working time anywhere, I reckon between 50 and 70 is the honest answer.
Yeah, it's interesting the parallels between painting and sculpting. Like 50 to 70 hours is what you spend on a really, really good model.
That's the thing, is like, and I say this a lot, and forgive me for interrupting, but that's exactly what it is. That, the skills are so transferable, and people seem to think that there's some sort of like magical thing. And I promise you there's not, because this idiot wouldn't have been able to work it out if it was. It was just a question of trial and error, and sometimes not being afraid to mess it up. Because I have learned so much more through my mistakes than I ever will through my successes. Like, some really, really frustrating parts. I have fully sculpted or been satisfied with something, and then I'll wake up the next morning and I think it looks like dog's dinner. So I'll take it off and I'll go again, That's the very luxurious part, in a way, of sculpting, is you can quickly erase your mistakes.
Yeah, 100%.
I was reeling slightly at the comment of 50 to 70 hours is a good display model. I'm sat here looking at my desk going, I wish.
I was thinking that as well.
How big Vulcan is.
See, this is the good thing, is like, once I've sculpted, and this is where I also get my reward, once I've done my part, I get to sit back and watch. So I just become like everybody else again, and I'm just like, how cool is that? Just because I like to, and again, I can't stress it enough, I'm a nerd for it all. I love watching people post up like, whip pictures and stuff. I love it all. So, yeah.
So, interesting question then. If I'd actually done my homework, I'd have the answer for this already. But have any of the models that you've done for people won at competitions? Have you taken big pride in that? Or would you? If not, if let's say someone won a golden demon from it?
Nothing. No, I don't think. I'm just trying to think. No, nothing's been entered into a painting competition by somebody else. Like I know obviously GW have put their new rules out. I'm not sure how massively people will abide by that. Obviously based on the first one back, not so much. But, you know, ultimately any plans, and I'm not going to lie, there were some, but up until now, none of the ones that I've done and that nobody has seen has made it into competition yet. But again, there's that very big question, isn't there? It's like, you know, what do they mean by do it all yourself? And again, I don't mean to be controversial, but you're painting a model that Games Workshop made. So, you know, is that any different from a 3D designer doing it to me doing it, you know, by hand? I'm not sure. Again, I'm not trying to be in any way controversial, but I think Games Workshop call it a painting competition.
Shots fired.
If that's if that's the case, then I'm sure they base it purely on the painting. And if I was to alter something for somebody, I can only imagine it having a negative impact in the end of the day if I don't do my job right. So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like, if a conversion is off, like it will only ever hurt you. It's the same with anything, a Golden Demon. If anything is off, it's only ever going to be a downside.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be interesting to see, because it's interesting. It's interesting hearing your opinion on it, because I've always had the sort of gut feeling of when you see pieces. So let's take Albert's pieces. So the Gretchen from 22, and then the Elf from obviously 23.
Yep.
Both being bespoke built, sort of like crazy complicated little sculpts. And I always had the sort of gut feeling that the composition aspect of it was almost stronger from the sculpt.
Mm-hmm.
Like it almost elevated the piece.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. That's undeniable. And I've got no issues with that side of the argument. I actually think it's a very valid argument. Ultimately, though, it comes down to what GW call it.
Yeah.
And they call it a painting competition.
I mean, we talked about this before. My opinion is if it's a custom job and it's a collaboration, it should be open. I think that's the best way of having it as even for
I agree. And that's the way it used to be, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'll be controversial. Fuck it.
I don't even think it's that controversial. And like, if anything, it'd be nice to see them actually allow collaborative efforts. So if you have a sculptor that's produced something that's shit hot, they actually get recognized for it. Because yes, it's a painting competition, but if it's a collaboration, both parties should be recognized.
Well, so that was going to be my other argument, because it's nothing but the painter that ever gets recognized.
Yeah, exactly.
So
to be fair though, I will say for me, I think open should be collaborations, but I also think it's a real shame that they don't have a sculpting category. I don't know why they don't, but I think it would be incredible to have a sculpting category.
Yeah. Now, and if not a sculpting category, I mean, this came up previously on streams and whatnot. Even if you just have a category that is specifically team entries, like just even if it was its own category, because you could get some absolutely wild stuff in there.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing. I'm not being funny enough, and like I'm fully aware. It's like ultimately when if they were to do something like that, I would have to be on the top of my game to even get close to some of the, I mean, incredibly talented. We saw it over in the US, right, with some of those collaborations. I nearly wet my pants, like with like genuine excitement, seeing like what they had done as a collaboration. I think, and again, I apologize because I actually don't remember the sculptor, but Eric Swinson did a Sigismund, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And there was a giant boar riding orc.
Yep.
And it was incredible. So in that respect, I'm really up for seeing those kind of type of collaborations. But I can understand, like ultimately, I can understand why GW do what they do. And you know, coming back around to the point, that's why, like the stuff that I planned when the new rules came out, I'd already had, and being honest and like you know about it, I had 4 entries booked in to be built. And obviously, you know, when those rules come out, and to be fair to every single one of the painters, they absolutely understood, and most of them contacted me to say, "Wow, let's never mind that for now." You know what I mean? Which is cool, because that's the last. I mean, you just don't want the drama that comes with it. If I'm being honest with you, you know?
Yeah. No, there is enough drama.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want any more about toy soldiers. You know?
Golden Demon is basically the annual like nerd drama weekend.
Yeah, but it's so much fun, right?
Oh, I know.
This is
any other
why
way.
I love all painting competitions, but Golden Demon is so much fun because the drama and the nerd rage, and like you just want to throw a fucking match in there.
I know.
I love it.
Why do you think I'm doing it twice again?
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I wish I was going to Adepticon, to be fair, but you're gonna we're expecting like hourly reports on what's going on.
Yeah. The daily news cycle from me.
Yeah.
And now over to our American correspondent, Aaron.
Yeah.
So, Baz, do you have a sort of competitive nature to yourself? If there was a category, or would you ever consider going to some other competitions that have a sculpting category? Is that something you'd ever be interested in?
I don't have a competitive like way about me. I'll be honest with you. You know, I think when I first kind of like properly got into the hobby, I entered it was Games Day back then, so I entered Golden Demon twice. And then it wasn't until they did the specialist games. You know, remember when they went? Yeah, exactly. Specialist game stuff. So I went to one of them. I got incredibly lucky on one of them. But if I'm being very honest here, I'm not diminishing anybody's achievements at those Golden Demons. I just feel they were slightly diluted.
I think you should come to SMC.
Yeah.
Because Matt's just made a really good point, right? SMC is not a competitive competition. It's all of us getting together. You should, this is the second time that I'm going to say this to you, not be a bitch and enter your stuff so we can see it all in person.
Need a cancer.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, we discussed obviously before when we kind of went live a little bit. I would like to attend some more of the kind of like competitions, mainly just so I can obviously chat a lot of rubbish with Jaffa Cake eating like plonkers, you know what I mean? But no, it's just like the whole community thing, like being on the west coast of Scotland. It's not necessarily a hub, I would say, for like hobby activity, but you know, I get to see some fellas up this way in kind of like the hobby regards, but I'd love to come down and kind of experience it again. And if I could like get my finger out, I would love to maybe just even make like a piece or two that I would enter, but more for the fun of it, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to participate. That sounds really cheesy, but I do. I genuinely want to sit about and talk miniatures, and I just find that's a lot easier when you're not the weirdo without a miniature and just a bag, you know what I mean? So
that's why I asked, because one thing I've learned from going to SMC this year and just, you know, other more open style, it's cool just to show your stuff off. You know, regardless of how well you do in the competition, it's cool just to have your pieces there, people looking at them, taking pictures, asking about them. Obviously, that didn't happen with me, but, you know, that would happen with you.
But this is I was going to say, though, like, irrespective of your skill set, like people will always look, and the hobbyists that we are, the vast majority of people won't go up and in some way just say something derogatory about your minis. And that's genuinely the best thing about this community is, like, most people aren't looking to tear somebody else down to make themselves feel better, you know? It's not. And, like, that's why I love the events. The events are brilliant. They just, as we discussed before, they just need to get studio staff and like people that create these models that we just get them back in so we can chat to them.
Bring back Games Day.
100%.
Yeah.
Mate, I miss Games Day.
Yeah, just bring back Games Day.
Other than the bags, the nerds with bags. People with massive bags at these shows should be banned.
When you try and get to the Golden
Right?
Demon cabinet.
And if you've got 2 bags, right? Warhammer Fest, I was going around the cabinets. I was going around the cabinets, right?
Got another Jaffa
And I'm
Cake
like,
in.
right, there's this fucking person right, with this giant bag. And I mean, it was like a whole fucking sports bag strapped to his back. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll go round him. And he turns and looks at me as if I've just stepped on his dick. And as he turns, he's got another one on his front, right? So he's literally 4 times his fucking bags should be banned, right? I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't care what your problem is. No bags, stupid fucking bags.
Let's just say they maybe shouldn't be allowed in the
cabinet space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I just said. I'm pretty sure I just said
I mean,
that.
I think he's just said wholesale. They should just be banned. But yeah, it's cool.
Anyway.
So on a complete separate tangent.
Sorry.
We had a few questions about cloaks, and to be honest, I'm also thinking, how the fuck do you do this? Where do you
I know how he
start?
does
What's the
it.
process? Without revealing too much, you know.
Oh, I
Keep
don't
some of
mind.
it, of course.
No, I don't mind at all. Tomato puree tubes. So get yourself
I love that answer.
right, exactly right. So get yourself some tomato puree. Make yourself lasagna or whatever you like, pizza. I don't know, anything. And that's got the thin metal that I use as a base for my clothes.
Ah.
So what you want to do is you want to get that. You want to flatten it out. Forgive me, I'm just gonna go in the old drawer and tomato puree tube. Okay, forgive the glare.
Interesting.
I'll flatten that out. I'll sand it down. So I take all the protective covering off of said tomato puree tube, and then quite literally, I can then manipulate that. Anyway, that one. It's a good job I can't see these comments, isn't it? So it's actually, let's giggle. But yeah, so I use that as a basis for all of my kind of cloaks. If you imagine it's like carbon fiber in a skateboard. So you'll use that as your base. Then once basically you've sculpted either side of it, you could quite literally, I can't reveal it. I picked up a model that's pretty heavy and I've shook it about by its cloak and it won't break.
Yeah. Durability of it.
But yeah, so the shapes and stuff, that's a slightly different thing. Now,
I just want to point out,
Yeah.
he spent maybe an hour, 2 hours going over this with me, right, on the course. And he made it look really fucking easy. And every attempt that I did, it didn't even look like anything recognizable, let alone a cape. So for everyone who's going out and buying tomato fucking puree tubes right now, this ain't going to be some magic answer, I'm telling you right now.
No.
It's hard.
yeah. So all I can say is, like, see when it comes to it, start small. Like, start with a tabard. This is what we did in the class. Started with a tabard. So there's kind of basic complementary shapes. So if you look at my top right here, you know, I can't stress this enough how much I used to stand about in a goddamn like house coat or some shit like that and looking at, you know, Space Marine poses. Oh, this is the way it flows, right? I was an idiot. But anyway, internet knows it now. But so there's a primary fold at this point here, but there's also a complementary secondary fold. And what that does is that kind of reinforces the direction that the kind of cloth is moving. And that's the same principle that you use with cloaks and the likes. It's just that Games Workshop have a very stylized look for fabric. So I would say, like, the biggest thing for me is start small on tabards. You know, just like pretty much any sculpting project. First of all, don't do it on your Golden Demon project that you don't know if it's going to work or not. Please don't do that.
Good advice.
Liam. So please, so don't do that first.
Whoops.
And then second of all, just start small. Do a tabard. Get used to the idea, the material, you know, the medium that you're working with, be it, you know, like Super Sculpey or whatever you're going to use. Start small and then kind of work up from there. And you don't have to do the cloak all in one go. So with the larger cloaks, I'll establish all of my folds up at the shoulders first. And that's like the cure. Because that gives you the time to, first of all, reflect on what you've done. And if you're happy, then any shapes and folds after that, they're continuous from where you are.
Yeah, makes
So,
sense.
just start small.
There's something you mentioned just then about Games Workshop having very stylized robes and cloth, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Slight tangent, but the other one that always, and I completely understand why they do it the way they do, but it never ceases to annoy me. Fur.
Yeah.
Oh my
There's-
god.
Oh, honestly, so fur is a continuous headache for me. Is there are so many different ways to do it, and it depends on the painter that you're doing it for. Because some people like to paint fur in volumes. Some people like to paint it.
There's only one right way to do fur, right?
What's that?
There's only one right way,
Yeah,
and it's my fucking way.
that's fair enough. But yeah, there's different styles. You know what I mean? And it complements the way. So likes of, and again, I'll just names that I've kind of worked with. Andy Wardle has and Dave Cole.
Yeah.
They really like to work with a basic shape and do the texturing and all of that stuff themselves. Whereas, right, exactly. So whereas you've got the likes of Dave Perriman, who does a very distinct GW style, so that leans into that way. Then you've got the Forge World style of fur, which is completely different again. So there's so many different ways.
We don't talk about Forge World fur.
On specific models for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
No.
Yeah.
Although we say that, the one that we've got up at the moment is your conversion for Lehman Russ. So actually, somewhat poignant because it is Forge World fur.
Yes. Yeah, that's Mr. Egan. Pretty much the guy that has just. He is without doubt he's at the forefront of anything I sculpt, as reference material, his execution. I fell in love with his work when he started doing the Primarchs for sure. That's when he came to the fore for me. And I mean, his new Horus is just, that's, I mean, as far as I'm aware, it was him that worked on that. And that was his first kind of real foray into CAD design and stuff, and you're just okay, but yeah. So with the likes of Lehman, I was really just trying to continue on with basically what he'd done, and when I altered the shapes, it's really just trying to work out, how to continue his work into mine and try and make it as seamless as possible. But yeah, then you realise just how really good he is. So you try and do the best you can.
Yeah. No, I've currently have a very soft spot for a certain Mr. Horace.
Yeah.
Apart from the fur, which we don't talk about. We don't talk about the fur.
What's the problem with the fur?
Oh, there's a lot of it.
Yeah. Right, okay. But do you and again, this is the proper geek in me, is I love how at times there's just little nicks in the fur, there's little issues, and it's just things like that he's popped in, and it's for nothing but the painter, and you just think he's looking at it from a completely different level, and he understands it, and it's like I say, I'm a nerd for this stuff. I could wax lyrical about Mr. Egan all day long. Absolutely incredible.
Now, this is going to sound like a loaded question. Don't worry. Have you or would you ever do a sort of conversion or sculpt of the Middle-earth variety?
Oh my god! Shut up, Chris.
Next question.
No, I get to ask my one question.
Right, so I mean, I think I've said it before. I am a massive Lord of the Rings fan. So,
Get out! That's it.
Yes.
We're done.
Okay.
but yes, I would. It's just their stuff, again. So it follows with the rest of the stuff. It's their new sculpts for Lord of the Rings are just hitting the mark.
Yeah,
and they're incredible. So it'd be really, really difficult. I mean, Sauron, I would love to have maybe a bash at repos in. I think he's got to be on the line for them. And it doesn't mean I'm not going to try it, but it does in some way kind of let me think of That's why I sit in the kind of like comfy spot of maybe 40k, 30k, and stuff like that. It's because I've got to choose from millions of characters, whereas Lord of the Rings is slightly more limited. You know?
Yeah, it's true.
Because it's shit.
Not true at all. Stop it.
I'm not afraid to use it. Well, like I don't know if you've seen the mounted Elrond that came out not too long ago.
Mounted on foot, they're just incredible. And I think, you know, going back to Golden Demon, that's actually one of the categories I think is like probably like one of the hardest now to actually win an award in, for sure. Because the top painters, they don't need to do anything to it. They are literally painting stock models because they are that good.
Yeah. Annoyingly, Andy Wardle has ruined that model for me. So Matt, in the chat, you can go tell him he's a bell end. That'd be nice.
To be honest, like,
I think he's ruined
he's got a habit of doing that, right? Because like, I don't see many people after he did the old what do you call him? The dude on the throne, the big chubby dude.
Yes. Another one.
You know the one I'm talking about there, whatever the heck.
The problem is that will never get done again because you either paint the whole thing, which no one is going to do for a competition, or you take it out and you just have him on the throne. Like, not only has he done an amazing job on it, everyone's just going to be like, you copied Andy. Like, so no one will ever do that. Like, literally.
The only way you would do it is like just intentionally saying, I'm trying to copy him. But I mean, he's got a habit of that, the bugger. He's again such a nice guy, and that's the worst of it. You know, you want to find a reason to dislike him, you just can't. So you just have to kind of go, well, yeah, you're talented, great.
Because that was a model that I went like initially. I was like, I don't like this. Then I saw Andy's and went, I like this, and now I can never do it. God damn it.
Yeah, but in the nicest way, right? It is a compliment to how good he's done it. It's, but yeah, and like I say, with Lord of the Rings, that for me is the biggest thing. What's his name? Spirabali Miniatures or something.
Lucas Pina.
Lucas Pina.
Yeah, Spiro.
So he
Radagast, right?
Radagast, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much, you know, one of the only ones I've seen. But he, as he's now obviously proven, he's just, he's somebody I, with the greatest respects, hate on a completely different level because I don't see any chinks in his armor. You know, he just, his collection of work, his entire body of work is just breathtaking. Absolutely.
I've literally got one in my hand right now.
Right? Yeah.
Like, they're just fucking amazing.
It's unreal stuff. So, as like I consider myself to a certain extent amateurish, you know, in ways, you know what I mean? I'm not saying everything I do is, but like compared to someone like Lucas Pina, like, is just, it's just on a different level.
I think that's the thing as well with Middle Earth. There's obviously not as many releases as, you know, your 40k and your AOS. So when it comes to Golden Demon or certain competitions, it's really hard to find inspiration without, you know, the model's already been done to some incredible paint job already.
That's exactly it. And you have, like, unlike other categories, you have specific figureheads in the movie series, and it really does like limit you in that respect. So yeah, it's just one of them ones where I would absolutely work on a Lord of the Rings thing. It's, as you've identified in the kind of like in talking about it, is what is it you do that they've not done?
Yeah. For example, and this last thing I'll say about Middle Earth, otherwise Liam will fall asleep.
Listen, I'm letting you through it. Like, crack on, guys. If you enjoy Lord of the Rings, that's cool.
Yeah, he's got Jaffa cakes, mate. Don't worry, he's good.
So, for example, I don't know if you know it, but there's been like two. So, in The Hobbit, there's the Goblin King, and they've released two versions of that. One of them, which is just him sort of walking forward, and another one where he's kind of throwing a goblin. But both of those sculpts are so janky. Not in a charming way like all the old Lord of the Rings stuff was. It's just ever so slightly off. And I really want to paint one of those. But I'm at the point now where I'm thinking, can I summon my inner Baz? Do something with it.
Mate, just get him sat on a throne. That's where he needs to be. Right?
No one
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. There are some dated sculpts, but like with the greatest respects, I don't mean to in any way lessen the sculpts themselves, but you can see some are dated. And again, Sauron being one of them, he's not been done, but when they do him, I mean, the way they're going, they're just going to nail it. I know they are.
If they do a Sauron, I might even be tempted.
Mate, honestly.
Do you know what? I'm going to go out there and say this. If they did a Sauron like a good Sauron, I still wouldn't fucking touch it.
Mate, there's just a scene I'd love to see.
It's just a dude in a robe, right? I don't mean to be funny. I don't get
just
it.
a dude
Clearly.
in a robe.
Just a dude in a robe.
I mean, just like dudes in armor.
We're literally looking at Space Marines in a robe.
It's all good. It's all good. There's always one. There's always one.
Yeah. I've learned it's best to ignore Liam when as soon as he starts talking, just ignore everything from that point.
It's fine. The main reason he won't do it is because of the layering problems.
We're not doing
So, Liam, do you want to share your clothing layer theory
No, we
with
don't want
Baz?
to get into this, do we? Right? We do
It's been
not
a
need
whole
to get into
episode
this.
since we talked about it.
Listen, it's just one of the right. I'm not getting into it.
It's just
shut
sat there
up and
counting.
move
It's just
on,
like it's
right?
wrong. He's wearing chainmail, then he's wearing boots, and then he's wearing a robe. But it's only on the top
It's not
half.
right.
Are we done?
Yeah.
Never gonna live this down.
No, you're not.
Of course not.
The thing is, what gets me is what does the robe count as? A coat or like a jacket, or does it count as do you know
Ladies
what?
and gentlemen,
Just,
we got it.
this is a
He's
this
already
is a can
thinking.
of worms. This is just a can of worms.
What
Right, I
does
just
it
don't
count
get
as?
it. Not normal. Because it's like the dungarees situation, isn't it? Because it's long. It's not a step. It's slow. Right, shut up, man. Why have you done this? Absolute bellends. Right, it's not even. I thought this was done. This was last month.
Next
we
picture.
had this
Next
problem.
picture.
Yeah, let's move on. I'm going to move on to one of my favourite pieces you've done.
Oh,
Now
the
I'm going to need
Stormcast.
help of what this is. I'm not very...
This is a Stormcast Eternal.
Yes,
No, it's
that
not.
one.
You uncivilized git.
Oh, it's not a Stormcast.
It's not a Stormcast. What are you on
It's
about?
a
talk about
Stormcast.
you,
No,
Bellend.
not a Stormcast. It's Custodes. They're the
There we
same
go.
thing. They're the same thing, right? One is in space and one's not. Right?
Well, I mean,
Literally the same
technically-
things.
Technically, it's on Terra, which is. I mean,
Oh, now who's being a pedantic dick?
it's just a Stormcast in
mate.
robes.
I mean, to be fair, being devil's advocate, you're not wrong, right? Aesthetically, they're not too dissimilar at all, are they? Especially with the new Stormcast, the way that they're kind of moving in.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, what did I use for reference for his chest? It was a Stormcast, this chest plate. So I absolutely lent into that aesthetic. It just needed to be slightly more stylized for 40k, essentially. That's what it was. But I've always, since the Visions of Heresy book came out, that's the first times I think they really delved into the visual look for Custodes, and I've always loved the idea of them. Absolutely loved them. So working on them, I mean, I did at one point. That's the only time I've made an army for myself. Maybe in the past 10 years, I did a Custodes army, working on them it's really nice. Proportion wise, they're starting to show a little bit now with the way GW have started to redo their Marines, but even still, I can't remember. I mean, what we're talking now, it's unfortunately close to 20 years, maybe, is it, since the Custodes first came out?
God, that doesn't make you. Doesn't that make you feel
Is it
old?
as long as that, maybe?
I didn't think.
15 at least, anyway, surely. But anyway, they really do stand up. They're lovely, lovely sculpts, and any sort of character, shield captain, they're a joy to actually make. I really do enjoy working on them.
So, fuck's sake, someone said that. the hairdo's based on me. Which leads me on to my next question. Could you sculpt me a new hairline? And how much do I have to pay? Give me all the money put you need. It's a lot.
Mate, if it makes you feel better, the haircut was actually based on the client. So.
Wasn't this one done for Colwell?
What's that?
No,
Is this the one Colwell painted?
No. So
I don't know.
Dave did. I think it was an Astral Claw. I want to say.
Was it? Yeah,
Something like that. Yeah. But again, that was we had a theme for that one as well. It just so happens to tie in with the lion on the chest. But that was a very kind of, we decided to lean into like the African kind of tribal look for that one. And again, it's something that you see with a lot of miniatures, is like they have real world kind of like aesthetics that they lean into for each of them. They do it with legions and chapters a lot, but they also obviously do it now with AOS. You can see where the inspiration comes from, the real life, I guess.
Yeah. Next question. Could you sculpt Liam a new personality? Is that within your realm of skills?
I mean, you don't mess with perfection. Ridiculous question. Who asked that question?
I saw it in chat, I swear. It wasn't me. It's these guys. Come on, guys, be nice. Honestly.
If in doubt, just say it was Rich. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what else we've got in the little bag of goodies. This one was cool. Again, I'm going to need the guys' help on.
Lionel Johnson.
Oh yeah, this is Primark.
Oh yeah. Lionel Johnson. So again, it's like Primarks for me. Just like I think they really dragged me back into the hobby. I did what everybody did, right? We all kind of get into the hobby, then kind of take that break away. Mine was just happened to be much later on, when obviously I had me and the wife had a few kids by that point, and again, the ability to get painting was just minimal, I guess. So
it's just that fucking cloak, man. Jesus.
Yeah, the filigree. Yeah, don't even get me started on that. I'm not
even talking about that. Like, the cloak is just smooth as fuck.
But again, that's done with a mix, right? So that's something that I can get shapes, volumes, and don't get me wrong, I did kind of like most of that in the Warner, but at the same token, if you don't, you can go back and you can work it again. You can sand it down, you can make those seams really, really kind of like perfect. But it was more the filigree. That filigree on there was lovely to work on. I'm lying. It was terrible. But it was the worst thing is I did one of those sides, I got all the triangles done, and then because I was super, super impatient, I just wanted to touch up another bit on the other model. And I promise you, the entire length of my thumb went down the entirety of the filigree. So I had to take it all off, and I had to do it again.
Ouch.
But again, you get lessons like this all the time. I'm sure you have it when you're painting, right? You've been a plonker, you've just decided to do something else, and you've ruined what you did before. Same with sculpting. I could have kicked myself in the teeth at the time, but funnily enough, I just had to do it again. And then, all the stud work, it's fun. But I do, like, as much as I'm messing about, I do love working on Primarks. Primarks are the thing that got me back into the hobby, and it's scary at times, but there's so much artwork out there. And again, it comes back to our original thing about sketching out ideas. With Primarks, like, there's about 40 pictures of each of them.
Yeah.
So you can just take your pick, whatever you like.
I suppose the slightly bigger scale also helps in the same way as painting it does.
Yeah, it's a help and a hindrance at the same time. The problem is like GW, and Forgeworld at the time, but they specifically put extra details on Primarks, which meant, flat surfaces generally aren't a thing. They're all festooned with detailing. So, they more than make up with all the little details to compensate for the fact that you're working at a slightly larger scale. So, yeah, it is though. It's really interesting. It's scary, right? Because they're not cheap models to start off, so it can be quite intimidating. The first time I cut one up, actually was doing sanguineous, I want to say, and I can honestly say, I had proper palpitations, and there was a serious amount of doubt when I started cutting him up.
Yeah. I mean,
It's an incredible piece.
even the idea of chopping up a Primarch fills me with dread. I mean, like the guys about to tell when I was I was thinking about shaving the pupils off of Horus's trim to paint them back in as eyes, and I was sat there like, I can't do it, guys. I can't do it. If this goes wrong, like this is a very expensive bit of resin. So the idea of chopping one up like that, it's just like, absolutely not.
Yeah, it was one of those ones where it was before I worked out that you didn't need a saw to cut resin. And I know, right, it sounds a bit weird, but you heat resin to bend it, heat it to cut it. You can cut through it like it's the softest material ever. If I just pop it in some, like, I'll be honest, I just use boiling water. You've got to be careful, obviously, don't be a dude.
Hold on. So when you're cutting these pieces up, you heat them up first and then slice them. Motherfucker, I never thought of that. That is genius.
It's genius, but that scares me even more.
Yeah. So like I can't stress it enough. Obviously, you genuinely got to be careful when you're working with a sharp blade.
Jesus.
But try it on if you've got something the thickness of a Space Marine leg that you don't need. Do you know what? Even the gates. Get yourself one of those gates. Pop it in some boiling water. You just boil water in the kettle and pop it in a mug, and then just drop it in there. Leave that for about 10-15 seconds. Then just cut it with a knife, and you will go through an entire gate easy.
I'm not gonna lie, you blow my mind a little bit there. It's so fucking obvious now you say it as well.
No, honestly, I'm going to tell you right. I literally worked that out about a year ago. Bear in mind how long I've been working on these bloody things, and it was a year ago when I didn't mean to. I just bent a weapon, and I was just trimming something, and I literally just sliced right through the weapon, and the weapon just pinged off. So yeah. It just works, and what it prevents is resin dust, which everybody always warns you about. You'll never have to worry about. So that's why you see the likes of, like, on the Lion, they've basically got the armor just above the foot, which is a curvature. I can now heat that foot, and I can just push the knife up under the armor without damaging the actual armor itself.
Damn.
There's a lot of these moments so far of, obviously, like the bloody tomato puree thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, I know what you mean. Obviously, it only took me like 4 years of working to actually work it out, right? So
all the hard work for us.
yeah. But no, like I say, it's just the only thing I would say is you've really got to be careful, because it's you put less pressure on cutting plastic than when you're cutting this resin when it's heated. I mean, it literally will slice through it like nobody's business. And then when it starts to harden, do not think I'll just push a little bit harder. Just take the blade back out, heat the resin back up, do it again. Because again, I've been a doofus. I've done it. I've pushed the blade, and all you do is the blade gets so far, then it snaps in the model, and then you've got a blade that's snapped off inside the resin. So and you can continue to do that no matter what. But yeah, I went through the entire torso of Lionel Johnson just by heating it, and I think I cut it 2 or 3 times, and that's it.
We're all going to be cutting Primarchs up after this.
Absolutely not.
But again, I didn't learn that with Sanguinius. So Sanguinius was all done with a saw.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I so wish we had done this podcast last week, as that would have saved me so much resin dust.
Oh yeah.
So much resin dust.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Timing. So we've had a massive accusation against you, Baz, from someone in chat.
Okay.
So Minis by Mag made a great decision to stick a plastic base in the oven. Not entirely sure why. I've lost the context for it, but he's accusing you of such instruction. What do you have to say?
A plastic
yourself.
base in the oven. Yeah, sure. I did that. What? A plastic base in the oven?
That's right. He's backtracking.
Yeah.
He's saying he was joking. He's saying he's joking.
So for your benefit, Baz. So what Mags ended up doing,
Yeah.
I believe. No, correct me if I'm wrong here, Mags. But you were trying to trim down the base of Vashtor, and he pops it in the oven, thinking, "Oh, if I warm it up, it'll be a bit easier." And then he forgot about it. And he came back and it was like, "Oh no, I have made my base."
Okay.
Because he messaged me. I was like, "Have you got that base for Vashtor? Are you going to use it? Because I might have cooked mine."
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I mean, we've all done stupid shit. Let's be perfectly honest.
I mean, I'm not allowed hair dryers anymore. Not in here. Because I've melted a model with a hairdryer.
I learned the hard way of alcohol and Games Workshop or Forge World resin.
Yeah, that's an expensive lesson I learned too. It was a Cestus assault ram, which at the time was just gone out of production, and it turned into jelly. So, yeah.
I mean, I put a Thunderhawk gunship in the oven because it was so warped. It was the only way. It was literally the only way that I could get the sides to. It wasn't the Thunderhawk. It was the big Mastodon thing, the tank where you can you can have it right. That the sides on that, I'll never forget it. I literally had to put it in the oven to get it to bend back into place. That was ridiculous. Never do one of those again. Fuck that.
That's just resin vehicles, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like large panels, large supposedly flat panels.
Yeah.
It was the hybrid kits. I think for me they were the worst, right? Because essentially you had the plastic parts that were they tended to be consistently straight, and then the forgeable bits that would attach to them that were just absolutely all manners of wrong.
Mm-hmm. And that's before we get anywhere near Finecast.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Forge World are doing all the resin for Games Workshop now, aren't they? And honestly, like the Forge World resin recently has been really good.
Been great.
So I'm quite happy.
It's improved massively, right?
Yeah.
It's just unfortunately they need to just whatever they're doing, they just need to kind of get more to people, right? I'm tired of trying to get a model and it's out of production for like 4 weeks. And I guess they've got teething problems wherever it is, but geez,
yeah. But they've definitely improved. Like
the quality is, it's getting
enormously. I mean, painting the old Fulgrim fairly recently. Like, I'm never touching that model again. Like,
Rabo was they're just nightmares, aren't they?
Yeah. Like the thing, like it was good cause and all that, and but I wouldn't elect to paint another one of those, especially not having new Fulgrim and Horus here now. It's like it's not even comparable. Like the new stuff is just so much better. So much better.
Yeah,
agreed.
So I've got an interesting question.
Have we gone through the original questions that we got?
Yeah, we're doing well. We're efficient. This is
okay.
smashing through all of them.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't have any faith in you running this, to be honest, Chris.
Well, the proof will be in the pudding. We'll do a recording. Don't jinx it.
Oh, with no audio.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
That's all right. I'm recording it onto my machine as well, so I have 2 audioless recordings of this.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right, so if you fuck this up, it's going to be funny.
I lose all this wisdom. So, is there any particular piece that you've done so far that you feel is your sort of crowning achievement? Like if there's one thing that you could pick where you thought, I've fucking nailed that. I want to show it off the first time. Anyone ask me about what I do?
I guess probably Dante was probably the one that I've been most happy with at the end, just because of the challenges that came with it. There was lots of symmetry that I had to kind of get right, and I know it sounds a bit like funny to say, but symmetry is key to like most things, and especially on something as clean as maybe a Space Marine. It's getting everything right, and I think at the end I'd ended up sculpting maybe about 8 sets of wings on Dante, and like all of the feathers themselves, you know, I had to individually count each feather to make sure there's the same amount of feathers, and then the space in between those feathers. So that was particularly rewarding. And there's a few pieces like I am very happy with. I just need, you know, the painters will reveal them eventually. If I'm being honest with you, you know, there's a couple of pieces out there that I'm really, really happy with. But yeah, no, I mean, there's just little parts, I guess. You know, it's less the whole thing and more the parts that I learn the most on nowadays, if that makes sense. You know, there's certain bits that I'm really happy with. Say, for example, I'm just doing Targutai Usagi for the White Scars, you know, and just building up the Mark II armor has given me a real appreciation for armor design. So, you know, I know it was controversial for Mark III. I happen to be a fan of the new Mark III, I'm being honest with you. But I appreciate the levels that they have to go to design that stuff, because Jesus, yeah, there's just bits like at the back of the knee that you never ever consider, but then when you have to do it, you're like, oh Jesus, how is it? You know, how does this work? But yeah, it's I would, you know, like I say, it's more bits. But if I was to pick one out at the moment that's kind of been revealed, I would say Dante at the moment. It was something that I was particularly proud of, and you know, that's a model that I get to keep, which is just, yeah, again, geeky me means, yeah, I'm quite happy. But yeah, there's a few more that I can't wait for, you know, people to see. So that'll be good.
Cool.
Tease.
Well, we won't ask. We won't ask about secret projects. You know, that's what we did with Liam last time.
Yeah. So I guess a question that kind of follows on from that one then would be, so if you could, if you just had free reign, let's just say, you know, ideal world, 9 to 5 didn't exist, etc., etc.
Yep.
Complete free reign. What piece would you want to work on?
Green Knight. The Green Knight. Yeah, 100%. Like, absolutely. Green Knight, the Red Duke. Again, you'll find it's a lot of it's fantasy based, but the Green Knight, the Red Duke, I guess Baharoth for Eldar.
Oh my God, I need that model.
Yeah, Baharoth for the Eldar.
I'm literally Googling this.
There are two old
Chris.
Inquisitor models in Terminator armor, and Order Malice. And I know, I apologize, these are proper old ones, but they are childhood memories. It's the first time. So when I got into the hobby, when I first saw the hobby, I couldn't afford the hobby. And so there was a guy that could, and I saw all his miniatures, and it blew my mind. But there was two particular ones, and there's one, you know, there's so many. I'm such a nerd for it. There's so many, you know, Neferata for the Tomb Kings, but I'm hoping she, you know, have they announced if she's getting done? Anyway, there's that one. There's so many, you know. Honestly, I could just keep going. Vlad and Isabella von Karstein.
Oh yes, that would be amazing.
Oh, that would be good.
See, I do know some.
Right. So I just want to point out, all of this shit is really old or mostly fantasy. The man has taste, right? No, it's Lord of the Rings shit. Not one of those miniatures was Lord of the Rings based. I'm just
Just
pointing
be
out.
nice. What you really meant to say was a Goblin King sitting on the throne.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would actually, you know what, genuinely, that would actually be pretty cool to do. Or, I mean, Liam and I have spoke about you know, organic shapes. They're really, really nice to work on, like musculature, you know, and again, it's another good way to start sculpting is like, you'll see people doing buboes for like Nurgle, you know, because they roll 3 balls together and pop that on. That's a great way to start. That is absolutely amazing way to start, you know, and then just start, maybe try and pop on a belly on a, like, whatever you want to do, you know, and like a big chubby belly or whatever. And then just go from there. There's lots of little ways that you can kind of get into it. But yeah, like there's so many models. Like I think we discussed earlier, Gene Stealer Patriarch on throne. It was there with a Magus that used to stand. And again, artwork, that for me is just, that's peak hobby for me. But again, that's the nostalgia kicking in, and that's where I'm stuck. Like I said, probably like mid 90s and then like early noughties, I guess, is where my hobby was just incredible. I loved everything about it.
Yeah, we always go back to when we first started.
Yeah.
And what about
absolutely.
larger scale? Would that ever be of interest?
Do you just mean like, are we talking like Avatar scale type things, or?
So obviously most GW tends to sit somewhere in the region of about 28 to 40 mil. So like 75 mils, things like that. So you mentioned Eric Swinson's Sigismund earlier. So something more along that kind of scope.
Yeah, probably when I'm a bit more confident. I'm going to be honest, I feel like the larger, flatter areas are less forgiving. And that can really, especially in 75 mil, can really kind of change things. And again, it's why I've got such an appreciation for Lucas Pina, because his work is just flawless, absolutely flawless. But no, absolutely, I would love to do kind of more fantasy based for that, if that makes sense. I wouldn't be looking to do futuristic stuff. I really like the idea of those organic shapes for larger pieces. Mm-hmm. But again, it wouldn't necessarily move away. I'd like the idea of a larger scale necromancer torso. You could really delve into textures, and you could, there's so much you could do for sure. There's loads. So
the dream of getting Baz to resurrect Inquisitor isn't dead.
It's fine. That's the thing, is like, that's the great thing about your CAD design stuff right now. I think those guys, and most people, you've seen them, they don't have to be with GW, but there's some guys out there that's just producing just off the chart stuff, and all they need to do is just, I guess, and forgive me, I don't know, but they'll have a design, and can they enlarge it? I'm sure they could,
Yeah.
One of them on Inquisitor, like, you'd lose your mind. They could do everything that you've seen in all the artwork.
Mm.
It's
something I wish they would bring back.
Yeah. I mean, I really liked the miniature scale of it, if you get my meaning. Yeah. I didn't play too much of the game because by that point I wasn't gaming as much. But it's a no-brainer, right? Yeah. Inquisitor type warbands, stuff like that. Again, you go on your favorite characters in audiobooks, whatever, you can make whatever you like.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
So I have one question. So if you were to give people advice on starting out, what would you tell them?
So again, I guess it really comes back to that whole thing where I'm saying start small. Please don't start your favorite passion project. Don't think that, because essentially what you're trying to do is make your access into sculpting as easy as possible. So if you're going to do your favorite project, you're instantaneously piling pressure on yourself to get that project right. So just strip it back a little bit. And if you can, the way I started out was maybe on, and again, I'll go back to Space Marines, I work on them a lot, but I would put like shoulder pads, I'd maybe start with a number, their squad markings or something like that. And it would be something as basic as that to start things off. Don't think about like doing your Aquila in a different style. Don't do that to start off. Just start small. And ultimately, if I'm going to be very, very honest, don't be afraid to fail. It's going to happen, because you're having to consider a shape not only on a flat plane, but in a 3D plane. And you've got to understand about like the thickness of your putties, and it can be daunting, but if you start small and gather pace as opposed to starting big and then you always feel like you're fighting against something, I think that's the best and most organic way to learn sculpting. It's like painting, you didn't buy a Primark for your first thing. So just, don't do your favorite project straight away. Give yourself a little bit of leeway and really just allow it to grow organically. Don't force it into it. You know, you can put time into it and it will speed it up. But start small and really just go from there. I know it sounds a really boring answer, but it is the best way to go.
No, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, chainmail, for example, I would not even know where to begin.
Chainmail's a completely different beast. That is an absolute monster, but there's what's his name? And forgive me, it's Mikhail. He goes by the name of Mick Sculptor or something like that on Instagram.
Oh, is it Mihouse? No, it's not. I know. I was looking at his Instagram the other day. He did the traditional.
He's quite literally done a little reel where he rolls out a small ball of his putty, his chosen putty, and then just pushes it to one side, and it creates a link. But the important thing is what you do then when you overlap it with the next link. It's incredible to see it. Like I say, I would honestly say, look at traditional clay sculptors. You will find a lot of techniques out by watching traditional clay sculptors.
Mix Sculptor.
What's that, sorry?
Mix Sculptor. M-I-K-H.
Yeah.
I'll throw it in the link in the chat.
Yeah, he's like, again, as far as I'm aware, he used to work for Forge World way back when. The first ever image he posted up was of like a Dark Angel Venerable Dreadnought sarcophagus, and just incredible. And to think he's done that like maybe 15 years ago, and he's just another talented git.
He's got amazing work. He did he did a ball a while ago. Do you know what? I'm gonna link it.
With all the musculature and stuff.
The rider's cool, but it's the ball. Like,
it's the folds in its skin over the musculature. It is just incredible.
It's mad, isn't it?
Incredible.
I'm looking at it now. The chainmail, like the chain links. Like, what?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
there's a tutorial as well on how he does it, like a step by step, and it's just like, clearly I'm going to be able to replicate that.
The worst is like the chainmails are like over pretty much the entirety of the back of the body that he's done. But he does the links, and you've got to bear this in mind when it comes to sculpture, like links, studs, all of these things are done individually. There is no quick way.
And the thing is, how often have we moaned as painters and gone, like, literally, if I look at a historical piece, the first thing that I look at is the chainmail. And if it's little circles, I'm like, I ain't touching that. Right?
Exactly.
Like, not a chance.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that, any sort of plate mail, stuff like that, those things are done individually. You would think, I'll just lay out a roll of whatever. But these guys, they just do it individually, and it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's mad. Oh, there we go. I found the Dark Angel's Dreadnought. Mate, this is a rabbit hole. Let's. That's the Forge World Dark Angel's Dreadnought as well, wasn't it? Oh, that's not good. That's some nostalgia there. Holy shit.
Just so talented. Unreal. But like I say, you get these, there's so many, and I'm sure you know what it's like on Instagram. You can go through, I can spend days looking at incredible painters, incredible sculptors. I go into the historical thing, which is not necessarily my flavor, but Jesus, those people they're just unreal.
Yeah. Oh, what's that? Oh God, I always forget her name. Less on the sculpting side, but on the
free hand on the cloaks. Is this what you're about to say?
Yeah. What's the name?
Julia something, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like every time you want to humble yourself about your painting ability. Just go and look at her Instagram. It's just like, okay, there we go.
she posted up a reel the other day, and it looked like her dog had chewed her paintbrush, but there she is, free-handing the most exquisite design.
Yeah, I'll bring it up on the
I'll put it in the chat, Aaron, if you want to bring it up.
Yeah, it's completely insane. Like, her work is just...
Yeah, it's bad,
I've got, like I say, that's the thing, is like, that's why I'm an absolute geek for this stuff. It's like, I've got nothing but admiration for this. Nothing but it. It's just incredible.
Yeah,
it's
mad.
As fact, she free-handed all of the filigree and the threads. It's the fact that she freehands threads.
And look at the state of that brush.
Look
at the state of that brush. I cannot believe that I'm going to say this, right? because I'm terrible with brushes. But even that brush is giving me anxiety.
For a brief moment there, I thought you were going to try and justify your brushes.
No. No, honestly, even this brush is messing with me.
Look at what she's doing with
it. I know.
Yeah.
Mad, isn't it?
Crazy.
Absolutely mad. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. And when you see that,
it's like this is like one of those videos that come up on Facebook that you just never want to watch, but you just watch it on repeat as they create some random crap in it.
Exactly.
It's just mesmerizing.
It's mad.
But she's obviously just got comfortable with
that. Right there is like hobby goals for me. I love freehand. Like
unreal.
That's where I want to get to.
Yeah.
It's just inspiring.
Yep. 100%.
Or terrifying.
Bit column A, bit column B.
It could be both. It can be both.
Excuse me.
Okay, so coming up to the 2-hour mark, are there any sort of last-minute questions from the chat? I think we've gone through everything we've down on our list that we've gone through, but
yeah. Baz, is there anything you want to talk about as well? Like, you got any announcements or anything?
No, if I'm being honest with you, mate, like, just super appreciative of like all the people that I've genuinely kind of like followed and stuff like that in the comments. Like, I know it sounds cheesy to say it, but like the community has absolutely genuinely been unreal. And the classes that I have put on, it's just so genuinely nice to kind of meet people and stuff like that. And the fact that, people just want to come along and kind of like learn is, well, you guys have done it. It's genuinely nice. It really is.
And you've got a course on sale at the moment, I know, or has it already sold out?
Yeah, it's sold out. Yeah.
Sold out.
Oh well, sorry, chat. You're all shit out of luck.
No. I'm speaking to Rob Meadows Miniatures about the possibility of doing maybe one later on in the year. So, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that one goes.
Yeah, good. I may have been watching that course like a hawk, and I saw that the tickets went up. I was like, buy. Yeah, right, I've got one. Now I'll tell other people it exists.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just
I can't say anything. I did the same thing.
Yeah.
When I went on the previous one. So
yeah. I'm just scanning through chat to see what other questions.
Got a few.
I don't think we've got any of them. I don't think we've got any more.
So Macy says Barry is very incredibly positive. He wants to know how that is possible. It's the Christmas tree. It's the Christmas tree. That's how. It's the festive spirit.
That's it. No, it's like, I think honestly, I think it's, as hobbies go, there's not many better communities than what we've got. There really isn't. It's genuinely good. It really is.
Oh bless.
No, but it is. It is.
He didn't say it included you, Liam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. Remember, I said earlier 99%. Right.
There are a few roadblocks. Any opinion on cheap green stuff? Is it worth going for the expensive green stuff?
I'm going to be honest with you. I just buy my stuff off eBay. It's like £4. Yeah. It's the same stuff. Ironically, unless you get the stuff that's separated, that's going to be slightly more expensive. But it's the same stuff. It was developed as a plumber's putty, so it's all the same stuff. It's all made in the same manner. I don't know if you get I've not seen of a higher grade green stuff. It's quite literally all the same stuff. So it's very cheap considering what you can kind of do. That, and same as milliput. I would say honestly, one of the main things with milliput is you're looking for milliput standard yellow grey. So many people come in and they've got the super fine, they've got yellow grey standard. That's the one that you want because it doesn't break down too much with any sort of like moisture at all. Especially when you mix it with green stuff.
Okay.
I thought I had a box lying around, but I don't.
So on that same sort of thread with the course and that, you obviously work commissions. So, tell us roughly what your wait time is at the moment, Mr. Baz. If someone was to come to you, go, I want a commission.
Yeah.
If it's under 12 months, it will be a miracle.
I would say it's just over a year at the minute.
There we go.
Yeah.
So book it now, people.
Yeah, it's just over a year at the moment, but it's like I say, it's just one of the. It's an ever moving thing, right? Because I'll book in commissions, and being honest, miniatures aren't at the top of everyone's priorities, so things come up. But at the moment, it's a year, and like I say, it's not too bad, right? It keeps me busy. It keeps me out of trouble.
True.
Good.
Probably just one more to finish, I think. Is there a hobby tip that you haven't mentioned that will blow our minds? Alongside the tomato puree, resin warming up, and hot water. Any last little sprinkle of magic for us?
I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to think. No, probably I've given you the two that probably took me the longest to work out, which I felt banging my head off the wall, was the simple.
Hold on. I know. This fucker, when he's got green stuff, right? The green stuff that he's not using, he puts it between his fingers. It keeps it warm and it doesn't dry out. It doesn't go hard.
Yeah.
That blew my mind. Like he had he had the same piece of green stuff for hours on the course.
It keeps it. So what it does is it keeps it slightly more pliable. I just keep it in in between my fingers here.
Yeah.
So pop that in between your fingers, and your body heat will keep it nice and warm. But obviously, it's a chemical reaction once you've mixed it. So the heat doesn't necessarily slow it, but what it does is it keeps it softer for longer, and it retains a slight more stickiness. But yeah, so there's that. And one thing I would say is, like, if ever you're attaching a Space Marine body to a new pair of legs, I always fill the void in the cavity in the body, because it allows you to pin. It's as simple as that. Pinning stuff is the way I go with pretty much everything now.
Yeah,
Guarantee I will drop
so you can relate.
stuff. I will try that. I'm going to drop it. I'm just going to have little sausages of green stuff just all over the floor. Just like, great.
Yeah. I have quite literally woke up with green stuff in the bed because I forgot it was in between my fingers. So, yeah, it's just the way it is. And if again, I'm from a busy, I've got a busy household, family and stuff like that. So if I go in and I need to do, I don't know, say empty the washing machine or whatever, then that green stuff is quite literally going to get all the fibers from the washing machine on it. So I just throw it in the bin, so it's screwed.
Well, no, you don't throw it in the bin now. You make.
I make a giant penis out of it. That's correct. Yeah.
Yes. I'll give you my address after.
That's the next Instagram post we expect to see in a month's time. Is just a series of sculpted penises.
You'd be so disappointed the amount I throw away as well. It'll literally be the size of my desk.
Or
So
if
many
anyone
missed
wants to
penises.
practice their sculpting, sculpt little tiny penises, post it up, and then tag Baz's Instagram account.
Jeez.
If you need any references, just call Liam.
Yeah, cheers for that. Yeah, amazing.
You're coming out of this very wounded.
Fair enough. Challenge accepted. This is going to happen now as well.
That's going to be my new tag, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hashtag Anphiarus penis. Baz's penis. Hashtag Baz's
Just
penis.
go green stuff knob. How about that?
The green peen.
The green thing.
Oh, and on that long and hard note,
Right. Anyway,
I think we can wrap up. Baz, thank you so much for your time and wisdom.
Thank you for having me.
Chat, if you can give some love to Baz, make sure you're following him on his socials, not in the street. Give him that cock penis support. And I think we'll wrap up and probably go and raid Monument for tonight. Just before we do, it's Christmas, it's a spirit of giving. There's a few charity events happening around on Twitch. Mags has got his Crisis charity stream next Saturday to raise money for the homeless. Mini Matties is also doing a big month-long charity stream as well with a few others. Lots of stuff being given away, of course. So donate generously. And also Brush Liquor has another charity stream next Sunday, so the day after Mags. We'll also be raising money for children in the Netherlands who don't, get to buy all the nice toys and pretty things that we're buying for ourselves for Christmas this year. So be generous, go support them, and I think we'll wrap up there.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
See ya. Take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.